United States, ex-policeman Derek Chauvin, charged with the murder of George Floyd, released on bail. Washington, former police officer Derek Chauvin, indicted for the murder of African-American George Floyd, was released on Wednesday on payment of $1 million bond pending trial next year in this case, which upset the United States. Detained since the end of May in a high-security prison in Minnesota, he was released at the end of the morning, according to court documents. This parole was denounced by Ben Crump, lawyer for George Floyd's family, saying it was a painful reminder that justice is still far from being done. By posting $1 million bond, Derek Chauvin bought his freedom after taking George Floyd's life for $20, he added on Twitter. George Floyd, 46, had been accused of using a counterfeit ticket in a store. The 44-year-old white agent is set to stand trial for murder from March 8, 2021, along with 3 of his former colleagues, accused of complicity in the drama that has sparked the largest anti-racist mobilization in the United States since the civil rights movement in the 1960s. On May 25, in Minneapolis, the policeman was filmed kneeling for several minutes on the neck of George Floyd. As he lay on his stomach with his hands cuffed behind his back, Mr. Floyd repeatedly implored the officer to loosen his grip, assuring, "I can't breathe." The images, broadcast live on the internet, had sparked a global shockwave and demonstrations of violence throughout the country. His arrest 4 days later helped restore calm to Minneapolis, a large city in the northern United States, rocked by several nights of riots. Heavy penalties. Since his death, George Floyd's last words have been echoed by millions of people who have taken to the streets of the country to demand police reforms and an end to racial inequality. The city of Minneapolis, led by a Democrat, has decided to transform its police, accused of being structurally racist, to create a new model of public safety. On September 11, Derek Chauvin appeared before a judge with his co-defendants, Alexander Kung, Thomas Lane, and To Tao, who have been released on bail for several weeks. The prosecution said at the end of August that it intended to seek exceptionally long sentences for the former police officers, due to the particular cruelty of their act and the vulnerable status of the victim at the time of the facts. Prosecutors had not specified the length of sentences they intended to seek, but the maximum sentence for murder is 40 years in the state of Minnesota. The 4 men for their part called for the charges against them to be dropped, pleading that they had used reasonable force in front of a struggling man. George Floyd is probably dead of a fentanyl overdose, Derek Chauvin's lawyer said in court documents. These arguments angered the Floyd family. "This is madness," said his nephew Brandon Williams. "He died from a knee on his neck, it's the autopsy that says so," added his brother Philanize Floyd with emotion. The 4 defendants also asked to be tried separately, outside the city and by anonymous jurors, according to them, due to the pressures generated by the outburst of anger.